I'm doing New Folk. It's our latest collection for AmericanCrew, and I'm doing the shortest version, which is called John. And basically what we're working with in the New Folk collection is letting your instincts out, being inspired, listening to the hair a little bit, not necessarily following the strict pattern of cutting, but following a guided pattern, and then watching how the hair reacts and working with the natural elements, like really bringing out that curl and bringing out that wave. So we're starting just with basic clipper work, and then I'm going to move to transition the top. One nice aspect of this collection is when you're working with wave and curl, you'll never have a completely balanced shape all through the head. So when I do this transition, I'm going to transition like this. So it's longer in the front on one side and shorter in the front and kind of askewed, kind of knocked off a little bit. You'll see that throughout the New Folk collection, elements of connection, elements of disconnection, and altered shape and pattern. The reason for that is we don't want these guys to look like they're wearing a helmet. And when you're putting wave and curl that has length to it on the masculine head form, you have to tweak it from its typical setting. So working with those inconsistencies actually helps to make a more masculine-friendly look.
It's an exciting time in men's hair. You know, anything can sort of go. We have really short hair. We have hair that has a considerable amount of length. Now we have hair with a great deal of texture. We're really working men in a lot of different directions with hair. My influence on this shape here is still going to be very classic. I would say arguably probably the most influential haircut of all time in men's hair is probably the pompadour. Wouldn't you all agree? You know, if you look back in time from Elvis Presley, James Dean, and even moving into current day, you know, we still see sort of an influence of that shape. So we're going to establish with the clipper, similar to what Terry's doing, except I'm leaving a little bit more length along the perimeter, just to give that really tall, lean, masculine profile. And I would say that this is going to be pompadour influenced, but still be very contemporary. And in one of our later segments, you're going to see our super glue segment. It's one of our new products we just launched that we're really excited about. And I think that says a lot about men's hair, where gel, you know, guys have been using gel forever in their hair, and they certainly have other options. But super glue really speaks to me as a stylist, because it's giving me another tool to add to my my box of tricks, if you will, but also for guys that are really style savvy. They understand how to style their hair. They won't sacrifice that style for anyone. You know, they're going to look the way they want to look, which is exciting too. So just to give you a quick, we're going to travel around this head shape. You can already see where we're reducing that weight. You can see it's a little bit heavier on this side. Then we'll transition into the top.
So now I'm putting in that transition and I'm kind of eschewing it a little bit. I'm following classic men's work format where I'm doing a horizontal transition, actually taking a section and then pulling it straight out. But what I did was I connected at the front hairline, disconnected at the back hairline on this side, and then on the side that I'm currently on, I will connect in the back and disconnect towards the front. So I have many options here. I can cut this flat, but I'm watching the hair and it does have a nice direction forward, but I want it to push further from inside of that shape. So I'm going to point cut halfway down. And my short piece is pushing long towards the front, so that will push forward. This is what we learned in method 2. As I'm doing this, I'm also kind of watching how the hair reacts, because remember, this is about letting your instincts out. It's about paying attention to what's going on in the hair as we're working. And I'm starting to determine whether I want to use, what product I want to use. I'm going to stay in the curl family. We have curl construct and curl control. And I think I'm going to use the curl construct. I want to increase that curl. These curl products are going to give a good offering to you. What we try to do with them is to get the point where we take this texture that's kind of all scattered and all out there and bring it into focus and refine it so it's very detailed. That will happen with both curl construct and curl control. Then you just need to pick, do you want more curl or less? And that will lead you to the construct or control.
Good sell. I like that. And it's true. We use it in the salon all the time.
Yeah.
What's going on over here, Mr. Greg?
And I think just to add to what Terry said, it's really, when we talk about curl control, we're not trying to make the hair necessarily do something that it's not naturally going to do, right? If you grew up in the early 90s doing hair like I did, it was all about straightening bonds, right? The hair was curly, we were going to make it, stick straight, and we're flat ironing hair. And I think really as time has evolved, the message right now, especially in men's hair, is that natural hair. Really encourage hair to do what its instinct is. So I think that's interesting to me as a stylist behind the chair, because it really allows me to be engaged, right? You ever feel like you're kind of doing the same haircut 12 times a day? You're like, oh, here we go again, another short haircut. Well, really, I think it challenges you as a stylist to really think about, what does this hair want to do? What can I encourage it to do? What can I sort of bring out of the box? So that's that. Let your instincts out. So traveling into the top here, I'm actually using a horizontal transition similar to what Terry's doing, except keeping it connected, okay? One of the benefits of these horizontal sections with men's hair, and a challenge that I used to have as a young stylist, was how do you go from shorter to longer and create length in the top without it looking like a mushroom? So it gives me sort of a boxier, sort of broader feel to the top, because I want to maintain some of this length. So if you even look through the crown here, you can see, we're sort of maintaining a corner. Okay, I'm not too concerned about any growth patterns or calyx in this shape. So now that I've established the shape sort of up above the parietal ridge, I'm going to move through the top and then create some support in the front, a little support system, because I want this hair to be able to support itself. So we're pushing it up and off of the face. I don't want him to look like he ran into a wall, sort of all that hair right there. So I think he'll appreciate that. My primary shape here is completed, so I have a little bit of detailing work to do. I'm going to turn you to the side. So just working a little bit to fit in sort of through the temple, right? I don't want this to look necessarily wispy. I want this to have a really strong perimeter and let my texture sort of live over the ear and then in through the back. So I'm going to fine-tune that just a little bit. In hand with method 2, we talk a lot about sort of cause and effect of hair cutting. Terry made mention to that about her directional cutting and everything that she was doing. But I think it's really important at sort of this step in the game. What you're going to see Terry and I sort of doing before we even put product is really just see how the hair is responding, right? Sort of the shape should be there. And I think probably one of the biggest sins that you could do with a guy sitting in your chair, it's to be finishing the haircut and have the huge can of hairspray, right? Sort of doing this, little primping. Right? You sort of want to move product into hair, quickly. It's sort of the difference between, a guy looking like he has a cool haircut or a guy looking like he just has cool hair, which is what super glue is all about, right? It just kind of looks like they got up and their hair just moved into that position.
So I was happy with setting that base in, but really what's going to set this apart is this curl construct. And I'm actually using it and pushing in a little more wave. I'm going to let that settle in. That's part of the detail and finish. This is step number 5 of our haircuts. I'm going to let the product settle in while I do a neckline shave on him. We like to finish all of our haircuts with a neckline shave. We use our feather razor and either our shave gel, our shave cream, or our oil. I actually prepped him with a little oil, and I'm just going to use some shave cream over the top of it. One of the reasons that we like to use the shave for a finishing item for your service is because it's just setting aside the man in the salon. It's a masculine feature. And it helps to introduce them to that conversation of how to take care of themselves while shaving, which products to use, how to possibly layer the oil with a shave cream. It's something that a lot of guys really have not been instructed how to do well. And I'm just working with the feather razor. I'm not going into this taper because I've created such a nice taper. I'm not cutting that in at a blocked off hairline. I'm working underneath that and just using my feather razor and wiping off the product as I work down.
Super glue is really interesting. It's definitely very strong, and it's one of those products that you sort of want to react very quickly to what it does, because it's sort of I can show you on the towel, it's like glue. So you want a consistent water content in there to begin with. So, I just kind of push this in, and it's almost like sculpting hair again in a way, if you looked at our super glue segment. So just using a large tooth comb or clipper comb, just went in and sort of encouraged some of this direction and push. I'm not really looking necessarily for that spit curl sort of look, but sort of the beauty of this kind of shape is that, his hair has natural texture and it can still move, but it's going to sort of set into this position. So super glue is exciting. For us especially, I think our firm hold gel has sort of stood the test of time, but we're always going to sort of have some new products for guys to experiment with. So that's super glue.
Absolutely, it looks lovely. Super eye shine and lots of fun and great separation. Terry, you're about finished over here, aren't you?
Yep, this is New Folk. I just added a little shine to the surface, really paid attention to my detail and finish on it with the shave and with adding texture and just surfacing with a little more product. So just wanted to present, this is New Folk and Super Glue.